Hey there. So my next guest, I could not stop smiling this entire interview. She is so energetic, so full of life, loves what she does. She's in the esports world, helping develop the esports industry. And I'm not going to say anything else. I just want you guys to watch this one because I know you're all going to love it. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a very special guest with us. I have April Welch. Hey there, April. How's it going?
Hey, going great. Thanks so much for the invitation. Super excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. So am I. So where do you hail from, April?
I am from the south side of Chicago. I am I'm not born and bred here, but I'm an import who claims it. I've been here for so long.
I love it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was actually born in South Bend, Indiana, and then we moved to California, and I've been in Chicago most of my whole life after that.
Certainly. And don't feel I'm interrupting you. You just keep on talking, okay? All right. So, April, I'd like to get the show started, getting right into it. So why don't you go ahead and begin by just telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Awesome. Yeah. My name's April Welch. Like I said, I live on the south side of Chicago. I collect action figures. And I love inspirational stories. Like, I'm a big anime fan, big fantasy sci-fi fan, a huge Star Wars fan. I am loving The Mandalorian right now. And I love the ILM stagecraft process that Dave Filoni and the guys have put together to make this show amazing. And to just what George Lucas did and perpetuate technology for other shows and other creators. I work at Illinois Institute of Technology. I'm the Associate Vice President for Strategic Initiatives there. And what that means is I really am free to bring new things to life. So in 2018, my new thing was esports. I've been the faculty lead for our esports team since 2011, actually. And we got an arena built. I did all of the paperwork and all of the pleading and begging, really, in 2018. So I'm also the director of our Esports and Digital Arts Center, and I'm always looking for ways for our students to have more fun and learn more and develop skills related to the esports ecosystem.
Beautiful. Oh, there is a ton to talk about right there. But however, before we do that, I start every interview with a single question. So I'm going to ask you just like I ask everybody else. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you, April?
I think I'm like infinitely weird. If I could put a little infinity symbol on the
Why is that?
Not to stay off the why not, right? I mean, I've always been walking my own walk. I've always walked my own path. And I think the opposite of weird is probably normalizing. And who wants to do that? I've always been eccentric. I've always had my own perspective, my own views, and I want to make my way in the world in the way that I want to. I don't want it to be dictated by others, and I don't want to feel the need to conform, and I never have. It was funny when I was pleading for the money for the sports center and for our esports center, and I realized I had a Brian Griffin as Chewbacca t-shirt on under my jacket, and I was like, my boss is kind of like, really? But I think if you're not yourself, if you're not authentic, it totally comes true. It comes through. And the best thing you can do is just, however weird you are, be your weird self.
Absolutely. 100% on that. Oh, I'm going to love this interview. Okay. So April, this is the Gamerpreneur podcast. So I do need your gaming cred. When did you first start playing video games?
Oh my gosh. So now, full disclosure, I am probably twice as old as anybody listening to your podcast.
I've had some people on the show who were pretty old.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'm half 100. I'm 51, and my first game was actually Pong. My mom, my awesome single mom, who was a Marine, who tried 3 times till she got in. Another story for another podcast. She's amazing. But she bought a Pong home video system, the bright yellow one that had the knobs, and it was just, and it's hard to explain how exciting that was when you're like 8 or 9 years old, but to be in a living room and able to actually control the TV, like the focus of the whole family, and be allowed to do that, to be allowed to play, and someone that had to invest in that, because at that time that cost a lot of money at that time. So the all our cousins and all our friends were like, oh my God, they got Pong over there. So that's my first game.
I love it. And what do you play today, if anything?
So today I'm super excited. I'm always excited about the game changer games, like the games that are really moving the whole industry forward, that are pivotal and seminal. And right now, I think that game is Beat Saber. Beat Saber is bringing in the era of VR and bringing in the era where people are actually modding and making videos and being creative and sort of like, I think, and I know I might be the only person who thinks this right now, again, infinity on the weird. Even with like League of Legends and Dota 2 and Overwatch and everything else, like just killing it, making money and prize money, and Fortnite making all this. I'm still excited about Beat Saber.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll admit, when VR was first coming out, I tried it, and I went around for like a full week just going, the only thing I would say is, this is the future. This is the future.
Right.
But it was too early. I invested in a business, crashed horribly. It was just too early then.
Yes. And see, that's what I mean. I think play and gaming has to drive it. Like Pong was released in the sports department of Sears because no gaming like Mattel, Toys R Us, none of them understood what it was. They all said no. And the same with Beat Saber. I think that like as the Oculus Quest 2 right now is $299. I think as the hardware comes down, people are going to come to understand that whole 3D experience, that whole immersive experience with the sound and with the with the space and the games that are engaging is going to be the future. I want Ready Player One here.
Right? I can't wait for it.
That's what I want.
Okay. One more gaming question, then we're going to talk about what you do for a living. I'm fascinated. I cannot wait. You've had the whole gamut. You said half a century, but you've been able to play them all. What is your all-time favorite game?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question.
I know.
It's really, and it changes on the day too. Like one day I'll value different things about different games at different points in my life. Like right now I am absolutely, and again, it's not going to be the popular game, hence the weird, but I'm loving Assassin's Creed in part because of their attempt to really bring in historical accuracy in their backgrounds, the ability to go as a soloist and just explore their world. They recognize that there are people who are half a century who go through the game at a different pace. There are people who just want to hear the stories. There's, I think, that's one of my favorite games. And then the Star Wars, again, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So all of the Star Wars games that Dave Filoni is bringing into canon right now, he's like pulling things from the games and putting them in The Mandalorian. And I think that's amazing. That use of the games as part of the history of our media is phenomenal. And I think that's going to keep growing as people realize that games are like the best way to learn anything. And the best way to really make things stick is to put it in a game and I'll remember it.
Absolutely.
Give me a book. I'm like, oh God.
They mentioned Operation Cinder. I'm like, that sounds so familiar. Where have I heard that?
Exactly.
All right, April, this is going to be a good one. So you work for Illinois Institute of Technology, but before you got there, what was your professional background? How did you end up here in the first place?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I went to school at Boston University, and after I finished my degree in business and marketing, my mission was to go to Alaska and work on the fishing boats. Believe it or not. I was like, I just want something real. Hence the Northern Lights. I love Alaska. I was like, I want real experiences with real people behind me. So I actually didn't do that. I went to Disney World instead, and because that was my gift from graduation. And there, I fell in love with the fantasy and the way, like you said, you're an entrepreneur, game entrepreneur, the way you sell fantasy to people that makes them feel amazing. Like there's really nothing to compare to how exciting it is when you step into a world that looks just like what you imagined it would look like. And I think that's why VR is going to be awesome. And that path sort of led me to keep something creative in my life. So I went back to art school. So my second degree is from Loyola at art school. And that was so much fun because every project that I did had something to do with gaming or comic books or fantasy. My first job out of there was Arthur Anderson, believe it or not. Because I wanted
out of art school.
I wanted to earn enough money to keep my action figure habit up. And to keep buying. And so that was actually a really good background. I developed my work ethic from there. I developed skills for training people. I ended up being the ones, like at the dawn of websites, being the one to build the website for them, build the database for them. So that gave me enough money to really do what I want to do. So it's been such a fun journey. So from Arthur, I went on to travel the world. When I was in my 20s, I decided I was going to retire a little bit every year for my whole life. So I did that. I took 3 months off almost every year for many years, for decades, and been all over the world doing that. And while doing that, I was consulting on the side. So there's the entrepreneurship side.
Gosh,
So
you're incredible.
so that was my path. And I got fired from DePaul when they let go of everybody who worked for the president, but they gave us a year's severance. So I got to go to Southeast Asia and backpack through Thailand and Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and just do that whole circuit. I've been to the Olympics every year, the Summer Olympics every year since they were in Atlanta. And I'm so sad that Japan couldn't happen, but when it does, I'll be there.
Yeah, Olympics 2020 and 2021.
Right.
Okay, April. This is going to be a great one. So let's talk about where you're at right now. What is it you do again?
So right now, I'm the Associate Vice President for Strategic Initiatives.
Okay, what does that mean?
So what that means is I get to bring new projects to life. So I just had a call with I get to develop partnerships with other universities. I get to, if I think of something like an esports arena, I get to bring it to life. One of my other projects was a makerspace back in 2010, before there were makerspaces very regularly to be found. We had one at IIT, built it with students' input, and it was just phenomenal and so much fun to help kids have. And we had an entrepreneur from there named Dane Christensen who made an X Cube. We had a couple of other people who did gaming related projects out of our rapid prototyping lab, and we raised the money for a new building. So then we walked trustees through to say, if you give us this, we will be able to build this. So so that's my job, really coming up with new ideas and executing them. Right now, I just had a call with one of the deans at Columbia. Columbia is a college in Chicago that has art and film and studio, all the things that we don't have. Game design, they have all of that there. So I'm working on building a partnership so that our students can do that and their students can come to us and do the data analysis, the networking, the hardware development, all of that stuff that we do have.
That is so awesome. You have an awesome job.
Oh, it's so much fun. And I get to hang with the students. That's my favorite part. I get to make sure we sent our first teams traveling internationally. We play 13 different titles. We've got over 100 kids who are competitive on our esports team. We've got 670 in our Discord. We do events for the whole campus. Our esports team was our homecoming. We played team fight tactics for a homecoming.
That is so cool. Why did you decide to take this job? Where did this one come from?
I actually wrote it in. So after I came back from Southeast Asia, my friend Joy Robinson, who actually did her dissertation on World of Warcraft and the communication within World of Warcraft, she asked me to come and teach a camp for kids on game design and photography. So I did that, and I was like, wow, this is a great school, but they need XYZ. And I wrote my own job description and pitched it to Mike Goss in 2006. And at the time, he was like, he blew me off. The first thing, whatever. And but then later, he read my resume and he read my proposal for what I wanted to do. And he said, "You're on." And we've been going ever since.
That is so cool. You are so high energy. You're probably in the top 3 of the most high energy guests I've had on this show.
Oh
I love
gosh,
it.
wow.
I absolutely love it because I feed off of it. What makes you good at your job, though? Because part of what my purpose here on the show is to present different opportunities for people out there. It's not just sit there and play games. It's not just the esports player. It's not just the streamer, but it's being a creative person in a university. That's something so many gamers. It's not even an option for them. No one's ever explained to them that's something that you can do. What makes you special? What makes you good at this job? Because I'm sure there's other people out there who have those same qualities.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I think what makes me special is my ability to get other people to come show off their specialties. Like we had Twitch. Kevin from Twitch came and did a 2-day workshop with professional streamers for our students to teach them how to set up your Twitch channel, how to stream, how to earn. Here's what you need to know if you're using Microsoft Azure to manage your data analysis. What are the best times for streaming? Like really, how do you not become ninja, but we've got kids who paid off their student loans just because they set up their Patreon, they set up their YouTube channel, they set up Twitch appropriately, and they've managed their followers. So I'm right on par with you. I love the name of your show. I think that's just awesome. And there's so much to the creativity around the esports ecosystem that I mean, that's what I want to partner with Columbia about, because we need shoutcasters, we need production, we need people designing 3D models. It just never ends. We need accountants. Believe it or not, there are a lot of millionaires that have no accountants, but they're millionaires from Twitch.
And as I'm learning doing this show, there's a lot of business owners who don't have business consultants, accountants, attorneys. They just kind of are gamers who kind of figured it out and didn't learn the business side.
Right. And that side is so important to just, that's my best advice to anybody. Don't do what you don't like to do. I hate taxes.
Who does?
Job that out. Just job that crap out. Focus on your game, focus on your business, focus on the things that excite you, what you care about. Only do that.
Can we go back for a second? The point we were just making about how there's so much opportunity in the esports ecosystem. Can you elaborate on that? Because I want people to really understand it's not just the players, it's not just the coaches, it's not just the publishers. What is it about this that requires so much more?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And one, I would definitely, if someone's new and looking, there's some great articles out there about this. But the things that I think are really key are the fact that you do not have to be an elite gamer to earn a living in the gaming industry. You really don't. You can be just entertaining. You can be someone who is a coach that does. I have a 14-year-old nephew. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. Calm down. I have a 14-year-old nephew who has 14,000 followers on Twitch. He gets money every month from PayPal because he is a coach for other Fortnite players. He's consistently in the top levels, and he's 14. There are so many opportunities. There's so many platforms. The one platform that I was mentioning, Patreon, that's a great platform for artists and for people connected to gaming who can do modeling. Like there are companies that need just backgrounds, like Assassin's Creed, what I was talking about before. Somebody actually went to France and took pictures of those castles and made 3D models of those castles for that game. There's music. Tons of people who are in the music industry are doing music for video games. The OG Arabian Prince from NWA, I met him at a different esports event. He's doing music for gaming. He's releasing a new product just for streaming. That is it's a box that's designed for inner city kids who don't have a computer, but they can afford this box and they can just do streaming. Like
That's
there's
awesome.
a lot going on.
This is so cool. And I totally don't remember what I was going to say. Uh, what? So I want to focus up more on your position though at the moment,
Okay.
because that's all fantastic, and there's so much to it. And like you said, I think before we started, we could go for 3 hours. Like this topic is just so big. There's so many different aspects, so many angles we could come at and talk about. And I think at the end of it, my jaw would fall off from smiling so much here. But I want to focus on where you're at, because I really want to try to see if there's a way that people can follow in your footsteps.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe there's a 25-year-old who just got out of grad school or that would like to get into an administrative role at a university. What do they need to know? How could they pursue that dream?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that, and it's a wonderful thing. One thing people don't know, part of the reason I started at universities, I worked at Loyola, at DePaul, at IIT, was because I love going to school and I wanted to go to school for free. And most of these schools, if you work there, you get to go to school for free. So I have like 300 credit hours from Loyola just taking philosophy and art and Kung Fu. I've been taking Kung Fu forever. So that's a perk. There's so many perks of being at a university. And the pathways to get there are not all as I need my PhD, I need my this, I need my that. I'm still working on my PhD. I'm a student right now doing a PhD in esports. I'm going to be evaluating like our friends at UIC and all the other really super successful esports center and make a document of how to, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is one of my favorite books. So I'm going to make the Esports Administrator's Guide to Collegiate Esports. So things like that get you into administration, writing, being organized, being able to offer your services. Like I said, I wrote my job in. If you see a gap, something that's missing, being an intrapreneur is a lot easier than being an entrepreneur because you're spending someone else's money on your idea.
All right.
And that's where I'm at right now. I'm working on my entrepreneur skills so I can get, just like George Lucas's team is using the volume to film The Mandalorian. I want a volume at IIT for our kids at Columbia and IIT built right near us. There's an awesome facility going up called Surge, $30 million esports facility, 4 blocks from campus with a phenomenal VR, mass VR. If you look that up, if you go massvr.com, immersive VR that you can run around in, and they'll have climbing walls. And Chris Lai, this brilliant man, is the one who designed the full stack, like from start to finish. There's nothing commercial in his system. And it's amazing.
Oh, this is so cool. Again, more back on you, April. You've been doing this a decently long time. If you could go back in time and you could talk to little April and you could explain to her everything that was going to happen over the next several decades of her life, but you could only tell her the one thing that was the most important, she absolutely had to understand, what would that be?
I would say, again, just like I said before, don't do anything that doesn't make you happy. Like nothing. Like if it's not bringing you joy, if you can't connect where you're going with this, don't do it. Like it should make you, even like the hard work of staying at Arthur Andersen and doing that made me happy because I knew I was developing my skills and I was developing you have to have that reason. I'm not saying don't do the hard work. I'm saying make sure you understand why you're doing it and you're happy about it. If you're not happy about it, don't do it. If you can't sit there and think of any reason that you are clearly happy about, you've been smiling for 30 minutes. Like you are clearly happy about what you're doing. You're educating people. You're bringing new knowledge. That's what you have to find. You have to find what excites you. That's your whole job, to be happy. Everybody wants a high paying job because they want to be happy. Everything rolls back to because I want to be happy. So if you start there and get happy first and realize that get happy about being on the way to be happy. If you're not, if you don't have the $1 million house that you want, get happy about meeting someone who does and making a plan to get there. I think that's the best advice I can give anybody. Get happy first. And if you are involved with anyone that's bringing you down, or if you are involved in any projects that are just draining, find a way to job it out. Get out of it. Get out of there. Game over, man. Game over.
That's right. I'm an absolute 100% agreement with you. It's actually my life philosophy. I believe the meaning of life is to be happy. I have left lucrative careers. I've left big businesses. I just one day I woke up, I'm not happy anymore. I got to move on.
Awesome.
And I would never have ended up here if I hadn't done those things. And like you said, I really have been smiling this whole time. This has been so wonderful.
That's so cool. You have to be brave enough to do that, to leave those lucrative jobs and do what makes you happy. Because the only reason you're in that lucrative job is because you want to be happy. So if that lucrative job is draining your life 360 days of the year for that one vacation that's really expensive, you don't do it.
Oh, you think I got vacation time? April, so for the 18-year-olds out there, the ones who haven't started college, the ones who, maybe been playing games their whole life and they think there's a future to it, but maybe their parents are like, there's nothing there. You're lazy. My parents told me I was lazy my entire life. That's why I never even considered gaming as a career until I was 32, 33. And, for them, what advice do you have for them? Where do they start to go down that path?
That's it. That's awesome. I think one of the things that they have to do is take a look at the whole ecosystem and decide where you fit in. Like if you are on the path to pro, like if you're a gamer at that level that you want a job gaming, like that's where you're headed, then meet the teams, meet the executives, but, reach out to email them. I know it sounds crazy, but, I met everybody who ran ENRG because I got myself invited to a investors meeting. I got pictures with Hector, like, and like Shaq is on the screen. And so, have confidence that you are credible no matter where you're at, and reach out to these people who you want to be. Now, if it's not a path to pro is what you're looking for, recognize that there's so many other paths, especially paths that are shoutcasting, paths that are analysis, paths that are training, paths that are coaching. I offer scholarships for the last 3 years at IIT for esports. So we need to hire people who understand the organization of esports. Like, how do you manage a tournament? How do you set up big events? Like, there's a ton of jobs within higher ed that are esports related. So I would tell an 18-year-old to look at that, look at the colleges they're thinking about, and look at their esports program. And I mean, there's so much that you can offer at 18 because your formative years are there. And I would definitely say, take a look at YouTube and see who's doing things that you love. Like Bonsai Pop is a great. I subscribe. I'm a Patreon for that channel. It's just a kid he could probably not 18, but he looks 18. Totally tatted up, so much fun, and he does nothing but talk about anime, and he makes a living by doing that because he's got enough Patreons like me who give $3 a month. So his whole life has nothing to do with a structured cubicle job that's making him miserable.
Love it. Oh, I love it. Okay, now, April, I want to pull back for a second if we can. And I'd like to talk about you a little more personally. You see, I believe that we don't necessarily learn from our successes. It's our failures that really teach us the most. It's when you get smacked in the face and knocked down that you have to figure out how to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and figure out how to move forward. So I'd like to ask you, what do you consider your biggest failure in life, and what did you learn from it?
Gosh, my biggest failure. Let me think. Oh, you stumped me. Gosh, I'm usually a motor mouth. Good job, Bradford.
Well, it's not like I sent you the questions in advance or anything.
I know, right? I didn't get that far down there. Failure. What the hell? I'm not reading that. No, see what I mean? Like that vision, like if it's not making me happy, I'm not thinking about it. I think that's probably it, though. I wish I had, I'm not done with my PhD yet, but I haven't quit. but I've been working on it for 20 years. From one perspective, you could say I've failed because I'm not done yet, but I would say I'm still going. I'm taking 2 classes this semester. Like failure, I look at is that's another thing. The esports kids learn how to deal with losing very quickly, and losing and failure are 2 very different things. So, like, to own failure is something that I just really don't do. I always think you're just quite not done yet.
That's
So,
right.
and as long as you keep moving toward it, you are on your way. It's not that you failed at it. It's not that I failed to get my PhD. It's that I'm still on my way. But that would be my example. And and esports helps you practice being okay with loss. And loss of a parent, loss of a loved one, loss of a game that was really important, loss of a, you know what I mean? It helps you develop the emotional skills you need to deal with loss, in addition to communications, leadership, all the other things that esports does for you. That's one of the biggest things. Learning how to deal with loss will make your life so much better. That's what derails people, is the way they deal with the loss of a really good paying job, the loss of a supportive partner, loss of a girlfriend or boyfriend, or what's the third? I don't know what the third gender is. Whatever the third gender is.
I know. I absolutely agree. And I would actually extend that to gamers generally. If persistence is the number one thing gamers learn. I think the original Mario game, Super Mario Brothers, that first Goombas probably killed more people or more lives than any other character in any other game ever.
Absolutely. And they like, if you read their history, the first games failed because they were too easy. People cleared the levels too fast, and they just lost interest. The games that kill you and make you stronger are the games that persist and people keep playing.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, kind of a related question, I guess, is what is something that you're working to improve on in yourself today, other than all the classes you're still taking?
I'm working on my Kung Fu. I take Wing Chun Kung Fu, and I'm trying to get better and stronger, and I'm trying to make that I don't do things consistently very well, and this is my new mission, to do things. I'm spurty. Like, I really like, all right, full throttle, go all out for the next 8 months, and then we're gonna do. I ran a marathon in 2012 like that. Like, all right, we're going all out. We're gonna do this. So I'm trying to learn how to manage a schedule better, where there's iterative learning and incremental progress.
I love it. Okay. And one more fun question before we start to bring this in for a landing. What is something that you think people misunderstand about you the first time they meet you?
I think I have a voice like a cartoon character, and I really can't do anything about that. So I'm like, hi, and I'm always like that. So when I walk into big meetings and stuff, it's always like, who let her in? And I'm also 5'2" and black, and it's like, and I'm always in like the one person in the meeting. And I'm kind of noisy, if you hadn't noticed. So I think
fun.
all that
I would love to be able to work with you, I'd imagine.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. April, this has been one of the most fun interviews I've had. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
How do people reach out to you? How did they find you? Where are you at in social media, email, all that?
Oh, absolutely. Discord's our best channel. ITE Discord is Illinois Tech Discord, and mine, I'm just April Rains. And then my email, aprilrains@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter. I just launched a new website, actually, aprilwelch.org. So yeah, any which way I will reply.
Beautiful. This has been so fantastic. Before we wrap up, though, do you have any final thoughts you want to share, or anything I didn't ask you think we still need to cover?
I want to thank you so much for doing this, for following your passion, for doing what makes you happy, for giving us a platform to talk to other people. I think that's how we're going to save the world. One voice at a time, because if someone hears one thing that inspires them, that makes a difference in their life, like someone might hear, you know what, I am not happy. I'm going to either one, find a way to justify what I'm doing that makes sense to me, or two, stop doing it. Like, if someone gets that just from what you've put out in the world here, that you're changing the world and you're changing lives. So Thank you for
Thank
that.
you so much. And it is our mission here to dispel the myth of the lazy, unmotivated basement dweller by
Oh my God.
showcasing gamers who are doing real things with their lives. We are not just that caricature of that guy from the Warcraft episode of South Park, just sitting there. Like
Oh my God.
we're
Yeah.
not that person. They do exist, but that's not the majority of gamers. And I cannot stand the societal stigma that is attached to gamers. It's just not true.
I love that you said that. What Thor made, it was so funny that when they were trying to display Thor at his lowest point, they made him playing video games with a big fat tummy. I was like, oh, how dare you? That's not who we are. Our gamers at Illinois Tech are out in the communities teaching circuitry, teaching Unity. That's what I was going to say to that 18-year-old, by the way. Unity, all the training is free. Unreal Engine, all the training is free. Go to those websites and learn it. But yeah, the perception of who we are is not who we are. And they say that there's no one, who looks like me in gaming, but there's a ton of us who look like me. There's whole societies of people who look like me in gaming. And our job, I think, is to, like you said, just be who we are. The thing is, we don't care what other people think about us. So that lets other people make the case for who we are. So that's sort of a cycle that we need to fix. But like our kids, things like they went into hospitals and brought terminally ill kids Xbox Ones so that they could play. Our students are like community focused and civic oriented, and our gaming students, that's what I'm talking about. So I think that there's just no reason for the stigma. It's just wrong.
It is, and we're going to change it here.
Yes.
April Welch, thank you so much for coming on today. I genuinely do appreciate this. This was a blast.
Oh, thank you so much. I wish you all the best and keep playing.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.